Welcome. My name is Jennifer Harris, and I am the Chief of Media Services for Charles County Government. In the studio today, I have Bob Sondheimer, who's our co-chair of the McConchie One Room School, and Edward Holland, who is our Public Relations Committee Chair. And the McConchie One Room School is a unique historical site that is very relevant to Black history here in Charles County. And since it's February, I invited you in as our special guest today to talk a little bit more about what is inside the school and why its history is so important to Charles County. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Bob, let's start with you. Tell me a little bit more about this one-room school. Why is its history significant here in Charles County, and how did you become involved in the project?
Well, it's the only one that remaining African-American one-room school that's open to the public, and it has a history of from being a one-room school from 1912 to 1952. And Edna Simmons Warren was the teacher from 1922 to 1952, and we just wanted to preserve that history. And evidently she was a wonderful teacher, and the ages 6 to 16, and we wanted to preserve that history. It is the only one African American one-room school in the county that's actually open to the public. So we definitely wanted to preserve that. We think it's very important. We have the other school, one-room school in Port Tobacco, that as a school teacher, I used to take children to that one. So we hope that down the road we'll be able to have school children come to the one-room schoolhouse on the fairgrounds. And the fairground actually owns the school. Back in the 1990s, George Dyson and Mitchell Diggs from the Fair Board made sure it was going to be destroyed, because it was falling in disrepair after it stopped being a one-room schoolhouse, and they bought it and set it on the fairgrounds so it wouldn't be destroyed. And then the last couple of years ago, we started saying, well, let's see if we can fix it up and make it so people can visit.
Okay, great. Edward, tell us about your interest in the one-room schoolhouse. I know your family has a rich history here, and how did you become involved in this project, and what is unique about these one-room schoolhouses to you?
Well, thank you, Jennifer, and once again, thank you for having us here. So my family has been in Southern Maryland for over 200 years, and I have to give kudos to Charlotte Wyriff, who is Bob's and Cynthia Sondheimer's immediate predecessor. Matter of fact, Charlotte just stepped down 1 month, so I had to give her credit. She brought most of us together, so we probably started off with 5 persons. Now we're a committee over 30 persons. And my family, once again, has been around here for over 20 years. So when Charlotte reached out to me, this being one of the few remaining African-American schools, I immediately jumped on her offer to assist. So we now have various committees, community relations, fundraising, grants, programming, repair, rebuild, and the new subcommittee, the alumni committee, which they held a meeting February 8th at the La Plata Library.
So what was it like for children going to this school back in the early 1900s when it first started? What was the significance to you in terms of preserving that history of these one-room schoolhouses? They had children of a variety of ages and backgrounds, and African Americans specifically went to this school. It was a different time in our history. Bring me into that story of what that might have been like for a child in that era.
Well, of course, they all walked to school, and the teacher, Edna Simmons Warren, she lived in the community also, so there was never any, the children, of course, worked together, like the older kids helped out the younger children, and there was never any serious discipline problems in the school, and she never used corporal punishment. She just gave them a stern look, and if there was any problem, she would walk them home and talk to the parents, so there was no problem with discipline at all, really. And the community supported, like the Board of Ed did fund them a little bit, but they didn't fund them as well as the white one-room school. But the community supported, like bringing in meals and stuff, and they had a wood stove where they heated up the meals and stuff. So it was a real community endeavor to make it work.
When you get inside this school, Ed, and you tour around it, what will you see? What will you experience? What will that be like for visitors who've never seen this before?
So the first thing, so we do several tours throughout the year, and the first thing the children realize is that, boy, is this area small. So, I mean, it's hardly, I wouldn't even say any larger than the studio. So you try to conceptualize how could a teacher, Ms. Simmons, have the different school grades all in one class. And then keep in mind, because of back then, the Agrarian Society of Charles County, you had people who actually couldn't attend school the whole time because they had to be out in the field doing something. And she had to remember where the child left off. So she had amazing memory as far as having different grades in the school and then remember where the child left off because they missed maybe a few weeks because they had to bring the crop or tobacco, what have you. So you realize it's small. Very cozy. Your siblings were in there with you. Nowadays some siblings don't, get along in the same school. So it was an amazing era. And one thing I realized, I probably wouldn't have made it. So.
Well, I also, just to add to that, sometimes when a family comes in and there's a child 13 and a child 7, and we ask them, how would you like to go to school with your 7-year-old? What? They look at like this, so.
So it brings them back to a different time and era in our public education system. Bob, you said that the school closed down officially in 1952. We know that the Brown versus Board of Education decision to desegregate our schools came out in 1954. But there was a period of time, for quite some time actually, where Charles County had not yet integrated. When did that change occur, and then what happened to this one-room schoolhouse between 1952 and today? Yeah,
I believe the official time when they integrated the schools was 1966 and 67. The school, after it stopped being a one-room schoolhouse, became a private residence. It was located at Blossom Point Road and Route 6, and lived until the 80s. And then after the 1980s, it stopped being a place where people lived in. It fell into disrepair, and that's when George Dyson and Mitchell Diggs from the Fair Board brought the one-room schoolhouse to the fairgrounds so it wouldn't be destroyed. And
Wonderful.
It sat there from 1990s to just a few years ago when we said, let's see if we can fix it up so people can come and see it and preserve this history. Yeah.
So tell us, Ed, how would one get involved in supporting the restoration and preservation of the schoolhouse, and what are you doing to promote its significance and value in our community?
Okay, so once again, we have a team, Community Relations, and so I'm part of that. Alicia Warren is chairing that committee. So we have YouTube, website, Facebook, everything is on, everything we try to do to disseminate that information. So the fairground, which is actually under President Glenn Belmore. So once again, we want to thank the fairground for being so generous to us as far as allowing us to be independent, quasi-independent. So I have access to their Facebook page and their website, and so I'm able to post events to that and then share it to other prominent Facebook groups. So we normally get anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 views. Also, the Maryland Independent, especially with Darwin Weagle, has been great. So Darwin, almost anything I give him, and that's a little plug, Darwin, so take care of us. And we normally get a half-page ad or a quarter-page ad that the Independent takes care of us. So that normally brings out a good crowd. And plus, we're to the immediate right of the fairground when you first come in. So it's sort of hard to miss us. And we normally stand there, as Bob can attest to wave, try to wave folks in. We're pretty aggressive as far as trying to get you inside, try to get you inside the school.
Good. Bob, what times of the year can people actually come to see the inside of the schoolhouse and take a tour?
Well, like I said, we have the Charles County Fair. They come in July 4th. We have the Holiday Trail. We have Kris Kringle Days, which is beginning of December. And we do, if people would like to have a scheduled time, we can do that too independently. But we have those times that we are always open. And we hope, like I say, we can get to a point where we can take school groups and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so people can call us up, and I guess I can give you my number if they want to call. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
We will share that information at the end of this program about how you can support the school, how you can volunteer, how you can get involved, and how you can financially contribute to its preservation. Again, my name is Jennifer Harris. I'm the Chief of Media Services. Thank you, Bob, and thank you, Ed, for being with us today in the studio to share a little bit more about the value of the McConchie one-room schoolhouse. Again, February is Black History Month. We encourage you to go online to learn more about this important historical asset in our community. And stay tuned. We're going to do a virtual tour of the schoolhouse sometime in the near future, and we'll bring it back to you on CCG TV.